Are you spending big this Black Friday? For most retailers, it's a make or break time of year, but with consumers worldwide worried about rising prices, could this holiday season be a retail bust? Let's go to the place where Black Friday began, the United States. And this is how much a Thanksgiving meal has gone up over the last year. Turkey up by a quarter. And the problem we've got is prices aren't just rising, wages aren't rising by as much. So have a look at this graphic from the US again. You can see how prices are rising well above the rate of wage increases. That simply means we can't afford to buy as much stuff. Let's hear from a retail analyst. He's the president of Shopify, and this is how he sees this Black Friday playing out.
We were already seeing numbers slightly up from last year based on Thanksgiving peak sales per minute. And I think that, one of the other major, takeaways from this season is this Black Friday to Cyber Monday period is no longer just a weekend. It's really become a season. And I think that a lot of consumers were shopping earlier and looking for discounts. But the major trend here is intentionality. We really are seeing that consumers are buying in a very intentional way. They want to buy from their favorite brands. They do want to find discounts, but they want to support their favorite brands, and they want to buy direct as much as possible.
Let's speak to CNN's Alison Carsick. She is getting a taste of that fever, as it was usually at the beginning of Black Friday at Macy's department store in New York. What are you finding then? What are the early signs, Alison?
Max, I think the holiday spirit, at least the shopping spirit, definitely is still in play here, at least here at the iconic Macy's store in Herald Square here in New York City. A couple hundred people were waiting out in line outside the store before doors opened. It was dark, it was cold, and they waited, and those doors opened to cheers, and everybody looked so excited to come spend their money. I went to go talk with some of those shoppers because of the elephant in the room, inflation. How are you going to handle the higher costs and buy all of these gifts, I asked them, and they remain positive overall. Many telling me they're sticking to their budgets, they're looking for discounts, which is why they came so early today. Signs like this, special 60% off on original price. This is the kind of thing that draws people into stores to try to get those deals, to get those discounts, because they're managing higher costs for everything and trying to get as many gifts to try to keep that magic alive during the holiday season. Max?
So they are shopping, they're out trying to buy stuff, but are they spending as much? I heard that, they're not buying as widely, they're being more discerning.
Yeah, I talked with a couple of economists who told me that, what you're probably going to see is in dollar figures, it will go up. So the figures we're getting from the National Retail Federation are this, that spending will increase about 8% over last year's numbers, adding up to about $940 to $960 billion in holiday spending. I'm talking about for November and December. But the economists tell me that when you factor in inflation, that's higher dollars. But when you factor in inflation, it's actually, people aren't spending as much on many things. So they're not buying as many things because they're spending more on the things that they are buying. However, the economist does say, although we're not going to see the mass spending that we saw last year, which was actually out of the ordinary, we are not going to see a significant decline either. So how the economist explained it to me was we're kind of getting back to normal, that although the spending this year, once you adjust for inflation, is flat, it still is along the normal area, especially in a time when we're seeing record high inflation here in the United States.
We know how much pressure the retailers are under. They really need to make this season work, don't they? Because we've gone into a recession in much of the world already, the Western world. Are the clever shoppers actually going to hold off? Because the sales potentially after Christmas are going to be even more striking because the retailers are going to be desperate to get rid of what stock remains after this part of the season.
I think that these sales started 1 month, if not 2 months ago. Black Friday, it feels like it's been happening since September. So I think the discounts have started earlier, and I feel like that they're going to continue late into the season. So yes, I think retailers have a lot to contend with. They still have the COVID surge of inventory they need to get off their shelves. And at the same time, they've got the uncertainty about what's going to happen in the U.S. economy and the global economy next year. We've heard economists after analysts with the expectation of a recession hitting at least the global economy, if not the U.S. economy alone. So I think at this point, retailers are really trying to give these discounts to draw consumers in and get them to spend. Matt?
Alison Carsick at Macy's.